Hey, Zanny62, it's Joseph here with a discussion about the new Showtime miniseries. It's a 2 day event called the Comey Rule. And obviously, it's leading up to the inauguration of President, can't get used to that, Donald Trump in 2016, and the events that led up to the inauguration with regards to the election and the aftermath of the first couple of months of Donald Trump's presidency. So, what we all know throughout news and what we've come to know through the release of depositions as well as watching a public trial on television is that there were reports solidified in this, which feels like a documentary, but it is a miniseries. They utilize all the public information act records as well as what was documented live on television. That in fact, leading up to the 2016 election, the FBI, who does not recommend prosecution, gave all the evidence to the DOJ as well as other officials that they were surveilling Russian operatives that were here in the U.S. and they tested a beta system in terms of Facebook, and it is validated that they did uh, strategically interfere with the election, pushing a lot of false narratives and false facts out, and making them seem that there were true facts. Now, what the miniseries showcases is that when Donald Trump was oh shit, was confronted by these facts, he ignored them, and James Comey told him, "These are the facts that we found that the Russians had effectively infiltrated the elections and willfully tampered with the U.S. elections." Of course, in this miniseries, it goes based upon James Comey's book as well as his testimony that Donald Trump did not want to hear it. He was more upset that within the FBI findings, they traced back everything back to the Russians. They use every bit of technology that the FBI has in its hands to fight terrorism. They use this with the Russian operatives and found out that Putin was behind it, that all of majority of the cabinet that the president put into office as he took office were already compromised by the Russians and actually started making moves with regards to the sanctions that President Obama put even leading up to his inauguration, because the FBI, now granted, majority of the FBI that we find out in this docu-series, miniseries, is that the majority of them later on we find out were all Republicans. So this was not a partisan uh, scapegoating as or blame game as Donald Trump would like you to believe. And as Comey insisted throughout this miniseries, is that my job is to do my duty for the people of the United States. He did not want to hear it. Did not was not concerned with that, and so the main thing that I got out of it as well is that when the FBI came to Donald Trump after the inauguration, is he insisted on telling them we have to be careful with the people that you're can basically have in your office because they're all been compromised by the Russians. Of course, when deaf ears, what he was more concerned about is the FBI also provided information with him, and what this series alluded to is that it was visual information that they had received of Donald Trump with two prostitutes in 2013, as well as the documentary or the miniseries concluded a very sexually perverted act. Now, according to this sexually perverted act, and I'll be as clean as possible, and I'll use the technical term for what they're describing, is that he liked the with two prostitutes, mind you, having golden showers performed on him and on a bed that former President Obama and Michelle used. But it was indeed verified, at least according to this miniseries, that these items were presented to the president once he took office. That's all he cared about. They talked about the threat that Russia has. You got to remember, as much as Donald Trump likes to propagate that the Russians are people that we want to get to know, and it's good to be friends with them, they have always been an enemy of the state. They are enemies to the United States, and for Trump to downplay that and bend over for the Russian oligarchs and Putin, that tells you that he has been compromised. Therefore, our democracy is in danger and is also being compromised. He refused to do anything about it. And throughout the first couple months of his presidency, he pressured Comey to do and corrupt and created crimes by trying to tell Comey who not to prosecute, and actually told him, and this was, they described him as a crime boss, a mob boss, because he put pressure and told people that he needs his loyalty and that they need to do whatever he wants them to do and forget about the law. And so the rule of law does not apply. He wants to tell everybody he's the president of law. He's a law abiding president, and he's all about military and the law. This guy does not care about any of that. These are sound bites so that his base rallies against them. But this guy was overly consumed with the fact that the FBI has records now also, and what appears to be visual proof, and I think those visual proofs are based upon video recordings of him having these sexually perverted acts done to him by two prostitutes in Russia. And you see, based upon James Comey's testimony and book, that throughout the discussion of this private dinner that he eventually had with Comey, which Comey did not want to have, that he contradicted himself throughout this whole supposed dinner, which is a meeting, and it's just lie upon lie. This guy lies so much that he forgets 5 minutes later about the previous lies that he's been told or that he's been telling. So the Comey rule, I was fortunate enough to see the 2-day event yesterday. It premiered today on Showtime. The first part, the second part will end tomorrow, the 28th. And so please, if you get a chance to watch Showtime, I found it a very important show, and it's very telling. And the great thing, what I thought was really responsible about the show, was it didn't play any partisan politics. It just told you exactly what it was, because they take hard shots and criticism at the Democrats as well. But this is about the corruption of our democracy and the infiltration of Russians in our election in 2016 as well as in today. Because at the end of the series, there's a post that said the FBI has notified President Donald Trump months ago, prior to this airing of today and tomorrow, that they are also actively infiltrating our electoral process, and Donald Trump to this day has not responded back to the FBI regarding this issue. So I would encourage you to watch Showtime. If you don't have it, they always offer a 30-day preview trial. Take advantage of it. There's a lot of great shows on Showtime. Penny Dreadful, City of Angels. As you know, all of you who followed Zenny 62, I'm a huge proponent of that series. But The James Comey rule, or the Comey rule, airs Sunday and Monday, the 27th, 28th. It is an important thing to see. I encourage you all to see it. It was a great miniseries. It stars Jeff Daniels, and Brendan Gleeson, who's a Scottish actor, plays Donald Trump perfectly. He got the mannerisms and the accent down. So keep it here on Zenny 62, and I would encourage you all to see the Comey Rule on Showtime.